Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm going to be talking about the Sun's passage through Sagittarius, starting on the 22nd of November and finishing at the winter solstice on the 21st of December. Now, with the Sun's transit through Sagittarius, if we just briefly do an overview of the Sun's passage through Scorpio to indicate the kind of transition we're talking about. So with the Sun in Scorpio, I've been looking at our unconscious mind, so looking at the contents that have been buried in the deepest recesses of our mind, because with Scorpio it's like the repression mechanism that we rely on to avoid facing any fears, any old pains or any emotions. In Scorpio this repression mechanism tends to become a bit defective. It still works, but the emotional charge related to old events comes up into the conscious mind for us to process it. So ideally during the Sun's transit through Scorpio, we'd have been using the light of the Sun penetrating into the deepest recesses of our minds to face old emotional wounds, old emotional patterns, and to transform them, in the process releasing all the energy that's been used to try and keep them at bay. And this energy then moves on with the Sun into Sagittarius and allows us to determine how we fire the arrow of truth, which is part of the symbol of Sagittarius. So ideally what we'd want to do is fire the arrow of truth high into the universe, but to do this we have to pull the bowstring back far enough, and this is effectively what Scorpio is doing. It's the initial step of pulling the bow back by releasing the energy necessary to fire the arrow as far as possible. So with this, Sagittarius is about understanding, is about figuring out how we fit into the world around us and trying to understand the nature of truth, understanding the natural laws that govern everything, and to become aligned with them. But to do this we have to move beyond the ego perception, because Scorpio helps to break through the walls of the ego to allow a higher transpersonal consciousness to permeate our being. And this then is a key step towards manifesting the higher levels of Sagittarius, which is that transpersonal understanding. It's understanding who we are in the grand scheme of things, the big picture, and understanding the universal laws that govern everything. They don't just apply to specific individuals, they apply to everyone. So during the Sun's transit through Sagittarius, the key resources Sagittarius gives us are faith and optimism. Now this isn't faith tested by experience yet, this is kind of early stages of it, where we feel that optimism, we feel that courage to explore the world around us, to challenge our beliefs or open to new experiences which push the boundaries of our minds to a greater extent. This isn't the same kind of expansion or the limitless nature of Pisces. This still has, because it's based on order, it's based on the mind. It's not the transcending of the mind yet. It's the expanding of that mind to embrace universal awareness rather than just personal awareness of our immediate environment. So it still deals with order as opposed to embracing the chaos which dissolves old forms of order to create a new one. This is why Sagittarius is more based on religion as opposed to spirituality, although the two obviously have certain degrees of similarity in common. So with Sagittarius it's about our belief systems. It's what do we believe in, how do these beliefs modify our perception of the world around us? Are we open to experiences which challenge our underlying belief systems, and are we prepared to modify our belief systems in response to these challenges and to allow a higher perception, a higher awareness of things, to challenge our current understanding of things and allow a new understanding that's more inclusive to emerge. So one of the things we're also dealing with here is tolerance. So this is not saying this as in we tolerate someone but we find that they're annoying. It's about learning to embrace other people's perspectives, the fact that we've all got different lifestyles, we've all grown up in different ways, we've all had different conditioning experiences in life, And these all modify our belief systems, but if we only ever stay in one place, we never expand our perceptions, then we'll never understand other people. Because it's through helping to understand other people and understanding our common humanity that allows us to break through the barriers of judgment, of limited perception and of bigotry, in order to acknowledge our common humanity. So otherwise, if we carry on operating from the ego as opposed to operating from the higher perception of the soul, then this is where the expansive energy of Sagittarius, rather than being used to expand the mind and expand our perceptions beyond its current boundaries, all it does is it expands our desires, it expands our need to accumulate stuff to us. And whereas Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, we would ideally want to be manifesting as the benevolent ruler, if we operate from the ego and it's all about me, then Jupiter then represents the greedy fat man archetype, where there's never enough to satisfy the appetites of the ego. We're constantly pursuing egoic desires and, like the centaur, trampling people underfoot through that rampant desire to fulfill our own personal needs, and that need to be right. Because Sagittarius also deals with morals, and it deals with truth. Now, if we operate from our ego, then any new concept, any new belief, or any new experience which challenges our underlying experiences creates cognitive dissonance, and this can feel very threatening towards our ego self. And as a result, we may descend into judgmentalism, criticism, and outright bigotry in order to protect our own belief systems from this new idea which threatens our understanding of things. So to the extent that a perfectly rational argument someone may put across to us that challenges our perceptions, we may see it as a threat rather than an opportunity to expand our minds further to a wider perspective and a higher perspective. And instead we may use all kinds of seemingly logical arguments but are actually irrational to try and convince ourselves that the other person is wrong, or try and make the other person wrong. But if we can remain open to new insights and open to new experiences which challenge our current understanding, our current belief systems, then we stand a chance of achieving significant growth during Saturn in Sagittarius and move towards the positive side of Sagittarius, which is things like generosity, a warmth of spirit towards other people. And when we meet new people, we don't try and fit them into an existing understanding straight away. We treat them as something new, we embrace them as who they are, rather than whether or not they fit with our current understanding or if they're an anomaly. And by doing this, we can challenge our own beliefs and realise where the limits of our own cultural conditioning lie, and we can then expand our perceptions to a higher one which encompasses the other person's perspective, the other person's attitudes and beliefs, and challenges our own perspectives and releases the limiting perceptions and beliefs. Now, Sagittarius, it deals with unity, but I just want to go into this in a bit more detail, because there's the common unity that we often see around is unity through uniformity. So this is where people want unity, but they try to convert people to their own way of thinking rather than embracing the other person's perceptions as well and trying to see where the common ground between these two different sides are. So rather than looking for the truth between the two poles, it's trying to convert the other person to one way of being and reject their own experiences. So during this time we need to look at, if we are trying to achieve unity, we need to embrace diversity in the process, because it's diversity that brings a richness of experience. If we have a wide variety of friends, we get a wide variety of different experiences, and our minds get challenged properly to move beyond conditioning beliefs and conditioning paradigms, to break free of a paradigm to embrace a higher one. Now, it's important that we stay true to who we are throughout this entire process. We don't just become a chameleon and take on board other people's beliefs, because we don't really know who we are. It's important that we observe our own personal experiences in life and allow new experiences to challenge our belief systems, and to listen to what other people have to say and be open to new perspectives, whilst making sure that we honour who we are in the process. It's a case of honouring oneself and honouring one another, because underneath all different perspectives there are underlying truths, there are universal truths like love, like compassion, like justice, like honour. There are certain elements to humanity which we all have in common, and that transcends the limitations of organised belief systems. And if we can approach one another with that freshness of spirit, that inquisitiveness, the willingness to see this, embrace the uncertainty of what this person is saying and listen to what they have to say, and then when we've heard each other's perspectives, bring the two perspectives together and see what is the underlying truth that unites us. Because Sagittarius also deals with natural law. So these are the underlying spiritual laws, like the laws of karma, that govern everything. So the needs, so obviously if we do not abide by truth and we're living with lies, then those lies will generate karma to teach us the consequences of falsehood and not being true to who we are. So this is a time where maybe seeking spiritual truths and trying to understand who are we in relation to the big picture, what truths do we need to understand, what spiritual laws are out there, or natural laws that govern everything, and how can we align ourselves with these natural laws rather than just the human laws, because we obviously have law systems, so Sagittarius deals with law, and different countries have different laws, but beneath the human laws there's also natural laws, which doesn't matter where you are in the world, these natural laws are always in effect. And if we can align with these natural laws of the cosmos that govern how everything works and shows us how to engage with the flow of life, so that by engaging with the flow we move in the natural direction of our highest purpose, our highest growth and our highest being. If we were all doing this and we're all making steps to get back in touch with the natural laws of the world and aligning ourselves with them rather than trying to fight against it, then there'd be a lot less conflict in the world, because we would be engaged, aligning ourselves with laws which affect everyone equally. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're rich, poor, regardless of religion, creed, colour. These laws affect us all universally, and if we were to abide by these laws and align ourselves with these truths, then we would achieve that sense of unity while still honouring and respecting the diversity of each other. Because if we had unity with uniformity, it's like a canvas that's made all of one colour, it'd be very dull. By having this diversity, we bring multiple different strands and coloured strands together to weave a tapestry of life, and a tapestry of truth and knowledge that is very rich and diverse, and it's all united into a single big picture, but the diversity is still respected at the same time, it's still honoured, and we don't try to force each other to conform to our own personal beliefs. We're open towards what other people have to say. We don't blindly believe what they say either. We see if it's an empowering point of view that will enhance our own understanding of the world, and we're prepared to embrace these experiences, embrace these new ideas, and embrace these spiritual truths that unite us all together, whilst allowing us to be our individual selves at the same time, so that our own spirit isn't crushed by trying to conform to the status quo, conform to what other people believe, or trying to force other people to conform to our way of thinking, which will just crush their spirit in the process. It's a time where, if we can embrace the attitude of generosity, of compassion, of beneficence and universal love, then we can transcend some of these boundaries that keep us separated and blind us to the underlying unity of everything, while still remaining true to who we are, and not becoming chameleons in the process. So I hope the sun's passage through Sagittarius brings you a lot of self-understanding, brings you into greater alignment with the world around you, so life becomes easier and allows you to achieve a greater unity between yourself and the important people in your life without losing sight of who you are and without losing touch with the core essence of who we are. So may this be a time of bringing greater unity, understanding of oneself and others, and greater freedom. May bring many blessings for you. Take care.